So my name is Geilyan Martins. I'm a 7th semester editorial production student. That's a name that in Brazilian, in Portuguese is really different, but when I use the translator, it's become like that. So I'm a student at the Federal University of Santa Maria. I'm living the extreme south of Brazil, so it's really down the map. I am bored with another countries, so it's really a great distance, you know. I've always been interested in games, literature, and fantasy, which is why I chose this degree program. And I almost finished. I'm the last year. So graduates of the editorial production program can work in any field that requires production or editing, kind of obvious, including books, magazines, websites, audiovisuals, podcasts, and final games. So the game I'm developing is my final project, which means I need to complete it to graduate. And I came up with the idea for this game last year, when I took an discipline, a class, in which I developed an educational card game themed around Brazilian mythology. I enjoyed working on that project, but I thought I could create something more elaborate and complex. So I decided that my final project would be a game. And personally, Munchkin is the card game that I liked the most in my life. So I thought it would be cool to use this system to create something new, almost as a tribute, you know. I decided to make it thematic, so I chose Greek mythology, a subject I'm passionate about studying. And as a frequent player, I was able to apply my experience with the game to make changes that I find appealing. Then, currently, I'm in the design and conception phase of the project. I will present it at the end of the year, and producing something so complex on my own is challenging for me. But I hope that the end result will be satisfactory, I believe, and will serve as an impulse for my future. But let's stop to say things about me, and I will say that I'm here with Steve Jackson, founder, president, and editor-in-chief of Steve Jackson Games, a company that is specialized in different styles of games and that has been on the market for 45 years. Am I right?
That's about right.
Okay. So Steve Jackson himself is a legend in this field and is willing to answer a few questions for me. So thank you again for the opportunity, Mr. Jackson.
My pleasure.
Let's start. I will start with a question about you. That I did some research and I found that your trajectory is really interesting because you studied in law school but left that field to design games, and then I saw that you worked at Metagaming and produced several projects too, and then you founded Steve Jackson Games. What led you to make this change in your life? Were games a childhood passion, or did you discover this love late in life?
Later in life, I became serious about games, if that's not a contradiction, when I was an undergraduate. Spent a lot of time playing games, continued that in law school. I found a game club at the university and created an informal game society at the law school itself. But I had never thought of making a career out of it. And purely by accident, I ran into an opportunity to do some work for metagaming and found I enjoyed it a great deal more than I enjoyed my studies, and thought perhaps it wasn't too late in life to make a change.
Cool. Looking at your portfolio, It's clear that you have a wide range of experience creating games, including Illuminati, GURPS, and Munchkin. And you've also been involved in the creation and production of many other games over the course of several years and in different centuries. So I believe that happens a lot of changes in the prospect. So how does the ideation process work for these projects? Would you say this creative process comes naturally to you with ideas flowing, or it's more about market research?
Market research is valuable, but I think it has more to say about the style, the price, the presentation of a game than it does about the ideas. So the answer to your question is really both. For instance, the first project that I did for metagaming was the game that became Ogre. And the owner of metagaming was very clear on what the physical components should be like. But he didn't know what the game would be like. That was my problem.
Okay, cool. As I'm producing a game inspired on Munchkin, and I'm putting my experience playing other games, I consider myself an enthusiast in this area, and I like to continue working in this field futurely. And of course, numerous difficulties arise during game production and marketing too. So what are the main challenges that game beginners, creators, and designers needed to be prepared to face?
That's one that we could talk about all day because there are a lot of them.
Okay.
Certainly one that you're going to face, even though you're writing for an entirely different market, is you need good playtesting to make it a good game. And you shouldn't limit yourself to a single group of playtesters. It's also important that you not tell the playtesters what they're supposed to tell you. Once you think you have the game pretty well zeroed in, it's good to give it to a new group that has never seen it before, let them read your rules, and don't answer their questions. Just be a fly on the wall, as it were, and see what they make of what you have created. And to the extent that they understand it, good. To the extent they're confused, not so good. And if they end up playing an entirely different way than you had intended, ask yourself if their ideas have validity. There will always be problems with the physical production of the game because it's printing, and printing is difficult and costs money. Depending on the market, there may be a great demand for games of that type or less, so you may have a marketing challenge. You could tell me what the game market is like in Brazil. I can't tell you.
Yeah.
But my understanding of the Brazilian market is that there are a great many very enthusiastic players, but no money.
Yeah, of course. Totally. Here in Brazil, the number of sales of analog and board games and specialized game publishers has grown a lot in recent years, driven largely by the pandemic. And this contrasts with a generation that is increasingly online but still seeks refuge from technology and card and board games. Do analog games need to adapt to this trend? How do you see this market in today's society as well as in the future?
Oh, today's society. Do you mean today's British society, today's American society, today's Brazilian society?
Yeah, that's a problem, I believe.
Our world is still divided up.
Yeah.
People are going to want entertainment, but they're going to want different things for different reasons. We now being gamers in the game business have a big problem right now in the United States, and its name is Donald Trump, because he has enacted a regime of tariffs and threatened tariffs that make it very hard for us to print games overseas, where many of us were accustomed to go, not just for price, but for quality. Your national printing establishment in Brazil must be entirely different, and I don't know how. If I were to be dropped in Brazil tomorrow and said, make a game, the first thing that I would have to do would be to learn Portuguese, but the second would have to be to learn about game distribution in Brazil and printing in Brazil. Because I know that the economy is difficult for people of the prime age to buy games. And people get into this hobby around the world, as far as I can tell, when they are of college age, sometimes a little earlier. And some of them drop out again, and some remain gamers all their lives. But college age is when, to use the marketing term, the recruitment takes place.
Yeah.
That's when you decide, I like playing games.
Cool. Yeah, I made changes in my college too, in the university too. I was in the chemistry area, and now I'm in the editorial area too. But I can say that I don't know how different it is, but I can say that in Brazil isn't cheap to make printing. I struggling with that now doing this game, so yeah, it's really hard to do games, I believe.
No, it's always going to be difficult.
Yeah.
And we can adapt to a certain extent by distributing games in a digital manner, even if they are to be played in analog style. Print and play is the term that we use here. But unless you are doing your design just as a hobby, there still has to be a way you can be paid for it.
Yeah. And saying about the problem of the value here in Brazil, you know, exporting things like games are become a problem too, because it's really expensive now. It's of course it's what is most talked in the medias is the online games, it's the virtual games, but and it became a discussion that I don't know how is the conversation in the United States, but GTA, it's a huge thing, and here in Brazil that will cost a lot. It's like a half of the minimum salary, so it's become impossible to a normal guy just buy it, and it's become a problem to the analog games. So that's a complicated thing to find the final goal. I don't know. It's that's not how to fix it in the easy terms. No.
And nobody but the big publishers makes any money off the big digital games.
Yeah.
Certainly the people who actually make the games don't make very much.
Yeah. That in here we study a lot of books, and in the books industry, that's the same problem. You almost can't make money with this. That's a problem. So the last question, I couldn't forget to mention Munchkin. My friends and I have spent many hours playing this game over the last 10 years. We made some really important decisions in our lives just playing Munchkin. The result of the game just changed some things in our lives, but not really big. But it was really influential for me. And furthermore, based on my research, it's the company best-selling game. It's alright.
Very much so. It is.
So I need to know, how did it come about? What inspired the idea? What was the production process like?
It was a complete whim. It wasn't researched in any way. It just occurred to me that it would be fun to do a simple game that satirized bad Dungeons and Dragons. A game that would make fun of all of the worst things about role playing.
Yeah.
The rules logging, the backstabbing, the inability to role play because you were busy grabbing magic swords. Wrote some basic rules and created some cards and took it to a game convention to play test. And people had a lot of fun with it and wouldn't stop at the end of the playtest period. They said, "Can we borrow this and take it back to the room?"
Cool.
I said, "Sure." And one thing led to another. We decided to print it. Our standard beginning print run at the time was 5,000 copies. My girlfriend said, "That's not enough." She was right. We sold through those 5,000 almost immediately.
Cool.
Then we printed 10,000, and Monica said, "That's not enough." And once again, she was right.
Oh my God.
And it turned out that the proper number to print at the time was about 50,000.
We are talking about these difficulties in different societies. It's look like difficult but different, you know. And I remember that here in Brazil, something really huge happened this year, because I was searching here, and this year a law was passed banning the use of smartphones in primary schools, because it's a really problem to students' mental health. And this end up generating a kind of phenomenon where children at break times began to rediscover card and board games. I have a 13-year-old brother who started to play cards at school and come home and show me different ways to play cards. And this makes me wonder if perhaps, at least here in Brazil, this phenomenon won't end up generating a new wave in the card and board games market. Because schools will probably have to adapt it to this and buy games that interest students with educational themes and more dynamic than chess, for example. Do you think it's possible that there will be an increase in demands for this type of game because of the law? And if so, how can companies try to get ahead to the race?
I think that absolutely yes. When my company was much younger, our games were often popular at lunch hour in schools. And when people could play Bedazzled or whatever on a smartphone, changed the whole dynamic. If those phones are not allowed in schools, and I wouldn't limit it to the primary schools if I were making rules, then yes, the games could come into themselves. You might suggest to a student in your program a year behind you, one who's going to need their own project, that this could be an interesting subject of study.
Of course, certainly. Yeah, I believe that it's start to rebirth in some way the analog games, just because the pandemic, and I really hope that it continue growing, because I always loved to play analog games, but that's the problem. The value, it's so expensive. It's not cheap, and I don't know how we can fix it, but I hope that the new generations start to put more passion in it. They took off a little the phones, the smartphones, and sit with their friends and family to play the board games, Munchkin, or cards, everything, because I believe that's a way healthier than be in the front of the computer playing. I'm really concerned about that.
Playing a role-playing game with your friends is much healthier than sitting on your smartphone and playing Grand Theft Auto and trying to run over people.
Yeah,
it's just, there's no comparison.
Yeah, my major memories playing wasn't in the computer, wasn't play role-playing games with my friends. I miss it, and I really hope that it become a usual to the new generation. Not that I am an old guy, but that's time passing.
No, that's my job. I'm an old guy.
No.
Yeah, an hour spent playing with your friends will create memories, and an hour spent in front of a computer screen with most of the computer games out there, it literally just kills time.
Yeah.
You look up an hour later and you go, what did I do? Where have I been?
Yeah.
You haven't learned anything. You haven't seen anything new.
Yeah.
And you haven't been with your friends.
And burn your brain too. So thank you for your time. Thank you for this. I'm really glad. And yeah, that's it. I don't know how to finish it, but that's it.
We say goodbye, and I say, I hope this is not the last game you design.
I hope so. Thank you.
Okay, farewell.
Goodbye.